say, you know what, if we just had more art in the world, then everything would be okay. I've heard people say that over time, right? We just get more paintings and more music, then the world would just be a better place. It doesn't work like that. It's true, these aesthetic experiences with beauty, they can be spiritual experiences. I don't know if you've ever had this. If you've listened to Vivaldi, perhaps, or you've looked at a Van Gogh painting, and there's a way in which that actually stirs something very deep within. It's hard to put it into words. Or maybe you've had an experience looking at the artwork of the true and greatest artists. You stand out on the Oregon coast, or you go up hiking in the wilderness somewhere, you stand on Mount Hood, and you appreciate the beauty, and it stirs a longing within. It stirs this homesickness within. I was watching a documentary a couple of weeks ago. It was on Lego, like the little toys that you step on and they hurt your feet, and things you build with too. And some of you young guys are into Lego, and gals are into Lego, right? You build and you create, and you like to build all kinds of stuff, police cars and police stations and spaceships and little homes, right? Really neat stuff. That's a kind of artwork. That's a kind of way of creating something, and you're taking all these things and you're putting them together in a way that's really creative, and you're using your imagination. That's an artistic thing, isn't it? Well, I was watching this TV show about Lego, and one of the executives that is working at their head offices, where are they? In Denmark, I think, right? And he was describing this process of creativity. He was describing the way that Lego people, like to put all their Legos on the table, and they start putting things together, and the imagination gets going and going. And this is what he said, and it jumped right out of me. He said, it becomes a spiritual experience. This creative process, this ability to create, becomes a spiritual experience. It taps into this deep longing in the human heart. But here's the thing, that spiritual longing, that spiritual restlessness cannot be satisfied in art itself. C.S. Lewis wrote about this in his book, or his essay, The Weight of Glory. He talks about beauty and how important it is, but then he says this. He says, art is only the scent of a flower that we have not found, the echo of a tune we have not heard, news from a country we have not yet visited. In other words, all the art in the world, ultimately, it serves a good only if it points beyond itself. It points beyond to the one who can satisfy those longings. And that brings us to Advent again. Because Advent is a time of waiting, it's a time of longing, it's a time of homesickness, where we focus on what our world needs to make things right again. We focus on the coming of Jesus. And isn't it striking that Jesus comes and for the first 20 years of his adult life, right from the time he was early teen to the time he was 30, he isn't spending his time in school. He's not spending his time studying and lecturing. He certainly could have been, because he showed that he was wise enough to teach even his elders, but he wasn't. He came as a craftsman. He came as an artisan. He came as a carpenter. And we don't want to draw too much out of that. I don't want to put too much weight on that, but I do think it's significant in at least one way. Jesus shows us the validity and the importance of craftsmanship. He shows that it has value. But more than that, Jesus didn't just come to show, hey, artistry is important. He came to do the work of the true artist. He came to do the kind of craftsmanship that only he could do. He came to do the creative work, or the recreative work that only he could do. He came to fashion this broken, fallen, sin-filled world to make it new again. He enters into this world to take the stain of sin upon himself, so that he might transform this world, so that he might bring us back to our true home. Jesus is the artist who recreates this world, so that it might be a sanctuary again, so that we might know our true home, so that we can go to the place that God made for us. Think again for a moment to that time when you were homesick. Camp, business trip, college, even vacation.